Hello and welcome to the Serie A Spotlight, brought to you by the Football Diary podcast. Each week I will be bringing you a roundup of what's happened over in Italian football, and this week we started with the opening game week of the season. Obviously, after a big summer for Italian football, they're right at the top of the list again in Europe and really put themselves back on the map with the win at Euro 2020. But sadly, it seems to have been quite a mixed summer over in the league, with a lot of big name departures, not just in playing staff but also coaches. No one more than Inter Milan, really. After winning Serie A last season and breaking Juventus' run of 9 straight titles, manager Antonio Conte decided to leave. Romelu Lukaku obviously moved on to Chelsea and Achraf Hakimi moved to PSG. Now that might not be all either. With financial difficulty, there's still talk about Lautaro Martinez and whether he may move on. In the meantime, while people are out there questioning whether Inter Milan have got enough of a squad to hold together another title challenge, they're starting the season with a 4-0 win over Genoa. New signings Çalhanoğlu and Edin Dzeko both getting on the score sheet, along with Arturo Vidal coming off the bench and scoring, who kind of forgot he was there. Kind of shows the depth that Inter Milan maybe do have. Although they're lacking what seems to be that real focal point in an attack right now, not really finding the balance yet, and whether Lautaro Martinez stays will be a massive dependent factor on that. They have still got a strong spine, Inter Milan. Handanovic is still there, and the defensive line is unchanged from the one that was the best in Serie A last season, as well as Barella being in midfield still with Brozovic. So Inter Milan off to a very good start under Simone Inzaghi. Remains to be seen whether that will last. Genoa didn't really put up much of a challenge, and I do wonder how they'll get on this season. And with Inter Milan looking to not only retain a title, but also compete in the Champions League again, could be a long season for them. Still uncertainty, obviously, over whether Christian Eriksen will be able to come back or not after the horrible events that he had to go through over the summer, and whether Inter Milan can actually bring in any more players is yet to be seen. It seems like they're in a real financial difficulty right now. Maybe Juventus will be able to take their title back and not being shy of the headlines. This result was all about Cristiano Ronaldo again. Juventus drew 2-2 with Udinese in their first game, with Ronaldo sat on the bench. Now, there is talk in Italy and around the world that Ronaldo asked to sit this game out as he's angling for a move. However, Juventus were quick to dismiss this. Nedved and Allegri both came out and said it was the club's decision. It was a tactical decision, maybe one for fitness too. But Ronaldo still played his part in the storyline here. He came off the bench 60 minutes in and scored what he thought was a last-minute winner. Took his shirt off and was booked for his troubles as he celebrated, only to have VAR disallow the goal and give Udinese the point. That wasn't the only thing that gave Udinese this point, though. Szczesny in goal really contributed to Juventus' downfall after Dybala had really stepped up in this game, and I'll come to him in a second. Szczesny decided to be an absolute calamity, really. He conceded a penalty for Udinese's first goal, and then for the second goal decided to Cruyff turn in the box away from some trouble, but then just kick the ball straight at an Udinese player. The former Watford boys of Ricardo Pereira and Gerard Deulofeu both punished him. They ended up equalising for Udinese, giving them a point against probably Serie A's favourites for the title this year. But there are positives to take for Juventus. Locatelli came on as well after they secured a wonderful signing there, which has been structured in a way that really suits Juventus. They're not actually paying any money for him for the first 2 years, which seems brilliant business for them, but not so sharp from Sassuolo. Along with that, with Allegri being back, all the focus is kind of on what that means for Paulo Dybala, entering the last year of his contract. Dybala has obviously shone under Allegri before, but kind of failed to hit those heights again. This game, he started fantastically, scored a wonderful goal, along with getting a fantastic assist with a brilliant ball over to Cuadrado for him to get Juventus' second goal. Dybala also was denied late on from scoring a wonderful goal for Juventus' third, with a very good save. But it looks like he might shine again and he might be a focal point. And particularly with talk of Ronaldo moving away, it allows for him to be the focus. Now with Mbappe being heavily linked to Real Madrid, there may be a spot at PSG for Ronaldo to go and link up with Messi and Neymar. Man City aren't going to have Harry Kane now, and there's talk that they might be interested in Ronaldo as well. Watch this space over the last week and whether Ronaldo remains on Juventus' books and what they might do with that money if they do move him on. Obviously, Ronaldo is on astronomical wages, so there is room for investment in the squad, and there's still changes to be made. There's talk that Weston McKennie might be moving over to England, either to Tottenham or Aston Villa. There's talk that Pjanic may be on his way back to Juventus after an unsuccessful spell at Barcelona. And of course, there's still Artur to come back after having an operation. I'll be interested to see how Juventus are even lining up for the rest of the season. Some big changes there. So this result, not ideal for them to start the league campaign, but it's definitely not their season over. Other big headline grabbers were, of course, Jose Mourinho's Roma. Now, he's not the only person to have moved over from England to join him in Rome. Tammy Abraham had a fantastic debut. Just coming out of quarantine, he hadn't even trained with his Roma teammates so far, but that definitely didn't show as he laid on 2 assists. For other players that are kind of forgotten from the Premier League, Mourinho's former nemesis, Henrik Mkhitaryan, scored the first goal for Roma, and Jordan Veretout, formerly of Aston Villa, went on to get a double against his old club Fiorentina too. Made slightly easier in the first half also, as Tammy Abraham himself was brought down by the Fiorentina goalkeeper Dragowski, who was then sent off. Zaniolo then unfortunately evened out the numbers after a second yellow. Those two were 2 of 7 red cards over Serie A this weekend in a very eventful first week. They also included 36 goals across the 10 games. So definitely not a slow start in the league for Serie A as a whole, but particularly for Tammy Abraham, who looked fantastic. He clearly is settled into that team quickly, considering a lack of training time. 2 assists, and he also hit the crossbar with a wonderful header after some great work on the wing from Pellegrini to put the ball in for him. So big things expected of Tammy Abraham this season, and Jose Mourinho becomes the quickest manager to ever reach 50 Serie A wins, along with also having 50 wins in La Liga and the Premier League. So a good start for Jose, if not the most flattering performance. It was efficient, and Roma have got 3 points on the board. Another team that have 3 points on the board that maybe shouldn't have is Atalanta, who got a 2-1 win over Torino. Torino managed to register 21 shots on goal in this game. Atalanta had 2 on target and scored them both, including a 93rd minute winner. A harsh result for Torino, but Atalanta are off to a flyer. Napoli, some people's dark horses for the league, they also won on their opening game with a 2-0 win. Lorenzo Insigne with a moment to forget as he blazed a penalty wide and high, although he got his redemption by scoring his second penalty of the game. Another talking point for this game, though, was Victor Osimhen being sent off, one of the other red cards from the weekend. I'm interested to see how he gets on this season, a new focal point for Napoli's attack after a pretty injury-hit first season. I think he could be onto something really strong at Napoli with some great attacking talent around him as well. There is talk of Insigne being linked with a move to either Inter Milan or Everton at quite a cheap price as well, 25 million being thrown around. But if he can stay, then Napoli could really mount a serious challenge to the top of the league this season, it seems. AC Milan also got off to a winning start on Monday with Man City youngster and former Real Madrid player Brahim Diaz scoring a goal very early on. And another winning start for Maurizio Sarri at Lazio. A 3-1 win for them after they went 1-0 down to Empoli in the 4th minute. Milinkovic-Savic went on to score just 2 minutes later. Now, that might be the biggest news at Lazio, and linking back to Roma. Big news this week was that Pedro changed sides at the Curva Nord to the Curva Sud. He moved from Roma to Lazio. Now, that's the first time that transfer has happened in over 50 years, so big news there. And many other transfers being linked over the next couple of days before the window closes. Talk of Damsgaard potentially leaving and heading over to one of the bigger clubs in Europe. There's a lot of talk of incomings, and AC Milan have apparently agreed personal terms with Bernardo Silva, which would be a fantastic signing for them. As the league is losing a lot of key names, it would be brilliant to see a player of his quality come and join. So it's an exciting start to Serie A. Like I said, 36 goals across the games this weekend and 7 red cards. Some big performances from some big players that we can expect a lot from this season. Can't wait to see how Mourinho and Tammy Abraham get on at Roma. Can Allegri get Juventus back to the level that they expect to be at? What will happen to Simone Inzaghi's Inter Milan side? So much still to be decided, but a wonderful first week. I definitely can't wait to the second one. Thank you for joining me, Myles, and the Football Diary podcast as always. And this has been your Serie A Spotlight.